So this next question is focused more on your current position in your career. If you were filming an average day in the life of your current role, what would it look like?
It would look really hectic, I think. Like every day is really different. So like today I thought, oh, I'm just gonna look at some stuff that people in the team have made. We've got a show called The Great Stand Up to Cancer Bake Off that's going to be airing soon. So I'll be looking over kind of edits. And then we're filming for another show in the universe of Bake Off called Bake Off the Professionals next week. So I'm having chats with the series producers to kind of like talk through all of the ideas, someone else to kind of work out like how can we get all the props. Then I get told that someone who was on Stand Up to Cancer, who something happened in the show, we now need to go and shoot with them. So I'm now having to think of more ideas about, okay, how can we do that? Liaising to try and make a production happen. So every day kind of feels often quite different, which is really helpful for me because I think I'd get quite bored. But yeah, it's sometimes a lot of content ideation, which is like coming up with ideas, looking at stuff a lot, reviewing, being able to give feedback constructively, being on set, having to be with what we call talent, and they're like the faces that you see on screen. So the presenters of a show, or like judges or whatever, you call them talent for some silly reason. So you'll be dealing with them and their big, massive personalities or contributors, and how you kind of navigate that, and when you only have like 10 minutes with them and need to try and get something out of them and producing that. So yeah, my day feels very different. Can I just go back to the last question, if that's okay? I just want to say two little things. One, with imposter syndrome, I think sometimes it's really important to know that if you feel like an imposter, to kind of work out what the reason is, because sometimes that's not the room for you, is what I would say. Like sometimes it's not a great environment. You're not the imposter, that's just not the environment for you. And then the only other thing I was going to say was, just going back to your point, because I remember I was at like a doc fest and I was on a panel and I thought, I'm probably just umming and ahhing all the time and not being coherent. And when I spoke to the exec, she was like, no, I thought you were fine. But she was also saying that the person that I felt was super coherent, he grew up, no offence, with academic parents and was used to kind of debating stuff at the table. And I was reflecting, going, yeah, when I went home, I just would just be like, yeah, I'm fine, and just go and keep myself to myself. So it's things that you just, for me, were just not part of my experience. So I think there's definitely something about giving yourself grace. So I just wanted to say that as well. But yeah, my day looks really different, which is really helpful. Sometimes I'm in the office with team. Sometimes I'm on location, which is when you're on set. Sometimes I'm at home, which I love.
What was the question again? Typical day, yeah. It varies because I'm doing the PhD, I'm teaching, and I'm doing bits of freelance work. So today, for example, I had a meeting with my supervisors about my PhD, just discussing the work, but I was also getting some feedback on an article that I was writing for a journal, which is like a review of a book from Suriname, which kind of deals with some of the issues I'm exploring for my PhD, which is about mixed identity. I'm also currently working on a guidebook for Lonely Planet. I went to Guyana in January, so I'm kind of having to write up that and then upload everything in the content management system. It's the first time I've worked on a guidebook. I've done lots of journalism before, but it's very finicky, and I'm like thinking, oh, I should have checked that when I was there, should have done that, but it's coming together slowly. So it's a bit of a mixture of things, and then having had a meeting with some colleagues about some recent marking that we did. Wearing lots of different hats, it's better if I can do one thing each day, but it doesn't always work out like that, sadly. So that's it.
I feel like my job is all about how you balance the sort of real long-term strategic thinking and planning with the day-to-day stuff that comes up. So like today, the computer that powers the lighting and sound cues on the show stopped working last night during the performance. So I was like checking in with the technical manager that was all sorted this morning. Doing a bit of work with one of my trustees on the sort of future business model of the theatre and like where we'll get our money from in like 5 years' time, which is would be great to know. We're like designing some redevelopments to the building that we're in, so I was in a meeting about that, and then just I feel like I have to do a lot of sort of keep people and relationships and projects bubbling, and a lot of the time that's real just 20-minute calls with people to check in on stuff or ask about this, or just to see how people are doing, and so there's a lot of the pans that bubble.
Yeah, I think similar, like lots of different things. And this morning I tried to listen to a podcast on the way in that kind of keeps me in touch with what I'm researching or what I'm teaching. So at the moment that's thinking about like game theory and time travel. And then today I had to run a workshop for prospective students on my course, and I was emailing, trying some admin stuff, trying to get about doing some talks, some paid work to do some talks about experimental performance, and I'm preparing for my teaching tomorrow. So on Thursdays I teach all day, and emailing, trying to get a little some travel into Texas to share my work there. Yeah.